Hey, what is up everybody? It's your boy Busfare here, and I'm going to be doing a deck profile on Yosenju's. This is a deck that I built pretty much over the weekend with my friend British. If you know him, you've seen him in my video with my box openings. But I'm going to just run through the deck real quick, and then we're going to explain tips, tricks, and all that stuff. So we have comma 1, we have 3 of them. We have 3 comma 3s and 2 comma 2s. We have Yosenju L, 2 of them, 1 Misak, 2 Sujik, 1 bear. For the spells, we have 2 creature swaps, 3 tankies, 3 potted dualities, 3 Yosen training grounds, 3 MSTs, 1 Raigeki, 1 dimensional fissure, 1 snatch steal, 1 macrocosmos, 3 Yosenju secret moves, 2 vanity's emptiness, 1 torrential tribute, and 2 mind crush. For the extra deck, we have 2 light imprisoners mirrors, 2 shadow imprisoning mirrors, 2 defusions, 1 vanity's emptiness, 2 dark holes, 2 Curse Seal of Forbidden Spell, 2 Fairy Winds, and 2 Droll and Lock Birds. 2 Lightning Chidoris for this extra deck. We have a Silent Honor, 1 Cowboy, 1 Exciton Knight, 1 Diamond Direwolf, 1 Tiger King, 1 Rebellion XYZ Dragon, 1 Rhapsody and Berserk, 1 Karn Gorgon, Jesus Christ his name, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Castell, 1 Papal Operative, 1 Giant Hand, and 1 Ragna Zero. Now, we're going to go into the Yosenjus. What the Yosenjus do pretty much is they summon themselves out. And when they summon themselves out, kind of like the Hunters, when they summon themselves out, they activate their effect to normal summon another Yosenju creature. Now, this is different from people like, what is his name, Castor, like Pollux and Castor from the Evil Swarms and Constellars. These are different. When these monsters are summoned, they activate their effect on resolving their summon that they get to summon another. Which means that if they if you summon your creature and they go skill drain, you're not going to get your normal summon as compared to, you know, Castor or Pollux. Castor and Pollux are a condition. Once that monster is summoned, they gain that condition for that turn to then normal summon again. These monsters get an effect, kind of like the Hunter monsters. So we're going to go into comma 1. Comma 1, you already know their first effect. I'm not even going to go through that. This one is the compulse of the deck. If you control another Yosenju monster, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. This effect can only be used once while this card is face-up on the field. During the end phase, if this card is normal summoned, return it to the hand. Now we're going to highlight this one area right here. This effect can only be used once while this card is face-up on the field. Now, what this means is that normally a monster can only use this effect once per turn. Let's see, you know, something like, shit, I can't even think of a card. Shit, like, let's say Shadow Fusion. The effect of Shadow Fusion can only be activated once per turn. Now, what this card says is this effect can only be used once while this card is face up on the field. This card, meaning that this one card, not these 3 guys right here, just this one card. Which means that if you have 2 commas on the field, you can use 1 comma's effect to bounce a card, and then another comma's effect to bounce another card. Because it's not exactly stating comma 1 as being the only card that can use this effect. So, another thing about this card is that it can bounce up any card your opponent controls. So not just face-up monsters. It can bounce up face-up spell of traps. It can bounce up a pendulum. It can bounce up monsters. It can bounce up anything as long as it's face-up on the field. So this guy is of course being run at 3, and he has a pretty decent solid 16 attack, which can be bumped up to a max of, let's say, 2900 with the help of Sujik and maybe 3 tankies if you have 3 tankies on the field. Or actually 32 if you want to count the Yosen training grounds. So, next we have comma 3. This guy is the searcher of the deck. Now, this card, when another Yosenju monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can add 1 Yosenju card from your deck to your hand, except himself. Which means that you can add every Yosenju here, and you can also add the 3 counter traps. The 3 counter traps is probably going to be your number 1 card that you're going to be searching for, unless you really need a monster to your hand. But usually if you already have 2 monsters in hand to activate his effect, you probably don't want to keep searching for monsters. You probably want to just get your spell or trap. Your trap card. You cannot search out the training grounds, sadly, because this is called Yosen Training Grounds, not Yosenju Training Ground. So, another thing you're probably going to want to search for is Shinshu L. I usually search for this guy if I already have a secret move in the hand. I can just search for this guy and then play him into the left pendulum zone. Or if you have this guy, you normal summon him and normal summon him defense, and then normal summon him in attack and he goes into defense. Next we have Yosenju, 2. This guy is played at 2 even though he has a solid 18 attack, mainly because of the fact that this guy is pretty much there just to deal battle damage directly. And if you do have him in hand, he can really overpower a monster with the help of Sujik. He can go up to about a total of 35 or 34, I believe, if you have everything on board. So yeah, he's a solid monster. Pretty much if you have Kama 3 and Kama 2, you're gonna normal summon this guy, normal summon Kama 2, attack directly with Kama 2, search for your, if you don't have Kama 1, you're probably gonna want to search for a Kama 1 for the next turn. Or unless you're in a dire situation, you might want to search for a Shinshu L, or something like that. I don't know. Next, we're going to talk about Shinshu L. This is a pendulum. I used to run the right, the Shinshu R. I used to run the right pendulum, but I didn't really like the pendulum version all that much. So I keep this guy mainly for the fact that he can sit in the pendulum zone, and with him in the pendulum zone, you're able to activate your counter trap, because the counter trap cannot be activated unless you have a Yosenju on the field in some manner, whether it be in the front row or in the side on the pendulum zones. So this guy is just going to be sitting there. Also, if you draw into him, you can normal summon him into attack position using the Kamas, and then you can put him into defense for 2100. And if you have a secret mirror, then secret move, then sorry about that. Then that means that you're able to have a solid 2100 defense and also be in defense. And also, if he's on the right or left side, if a Yosenju monster would be Yosenju monster or monsters would be destroyed by battle of the card effect, you destroy this card instead. So you can save all your Yosenjus just by having this guy in the pendulum zone. So that's another reason why I play him. Next, we have Yosenju Masak. This guy is the kind of quote-quote boss monster of this version of the build. I used to run the Masayo Senju. I used to run that big guy, but he became more of a dead draw later on. I mean, yeah, he was really nice when you did pull him off, and yeah, you could put him in the pendulum zone, but at the same time, he just does not need to be in the deck, honestly. I run one Misak because of the fact that he's like the caster of the deck. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a face-up non-wind monster, you can destroy that monster. When this card is pendulum summoned, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. During the end phase, if that card was special summoned this turn, return it to the hand. Now, I don't really special summon this guy, and as you can see, I can't pendulum summon in this deck because I took out the right hand card, the right pendulum monster. So I will not be getting that effect, but he does come in handy sometimes when if I need to keep a Yosenju on the field for a secret move, and I don't have a Yosenju Shinshu L. Also, this guy is just a beefy 2300 catastor basically, so he just sit there and just keep ramming every monster that he wants to down. So that's the reason why I use him. But he could possibly be taken out for maybe another Yosenju Sujik or maybe another Kama 2 and just play basic level 4 beat. Next we're going to talk about Yosenju Sujik. This guy is a honest and a steroid all in one. During the then phase, if this card was normal summon, return it to the hand. You can only use the effect of these, use each of these effects of Yosenju Sujik once per turn. Now, this guy does not gain the effect of normal summoning another Yosenju. Only the Kamas can normal summon another Yosenju. So, let's say you have all 4 Yosenju in hand. You're going to normal summon Kama, normal summon Kama 3, Kama 2, and then you're going to end it with Sujik. So that's exactly pretty much how you would play it. Sujik will always be the last one to come out if you do want to play him. Now, his other effect is during either player's damage step, when a Yosenju monster that you control battles an opponent's monster, you can discard this card. That monster you control gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. So that's really good because Yosenjus aren't exactly weak. They're pretty strong, and they can pretty much handle any monster in the meta as long as you have a Sujik on the field or in the hand. Also, the second effect is you can target one Yosenju monster on the field. It gains 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. This effect is if he's on the field within another Yosenju. So what you can do is, say you need to really get over a monster. You can summon Kama 2, and then summon Sujik. Sujik can then buff up Kama to about 2,800. I've jumped over a one of the Infernoids. I think he's like 2,800. I think Anantel or whatever his name is. Summoned Kama, 3, Kama 2, and then had Sujik, and then I buffed up Sujik to 2,900 because I also had a Tenki on the field, so I was able to run over that monster and then activate Kama 3 to then get a secret move for the next turn. So that is definitely exactly a play you would want to do. And it's also, if you somehow are still on the board, somehow Yosenju is still on the board, let's say they Phoenix Chain you or something like that, and then they try to attack you, drop Sujik from the hand and destroy that monster. So it's really good in that sense that it can actually protect your monsters and count as a support for the rest of them while he's on the field. He can also apply more damage. I've OTK'd many people because of him. Bear is because we have 3 Tenkis. Why not throw in a bear? Why not have some extra control? 2 creature swaps because of the fact that we want to keep. What you can do with creature swap is, let's say you summon Kama 1, Kama 3. You bounce up a monster on the side of the field. They have 1 more monster left. You creature swap. You swap a monster with them, and then at the end of the turn, that Yosenju that you gave them has to go back to the hand because of its effect. So then you will keep their monster, and then you have it in your hand. I've done this against Clifford's. The guy had a disc on the field that was 2,800, and I basically just summoned Kama 3 and just said, hey, here, have this. And I just took it, and I just sat there. I just ended my turn because the Kama's going to go back to my hand. And I just sat there with the vanities and just laughed at him. So that's another reason why creature swap is in the deck. Gets rid of big monsters, swap it in for a little monster, and then you get your monster back. 3 Tenkis, because they're all beast warriors, except for Misak. Misak is a beast. 3 Potted Duality, because you don't special summon in this deck. You're rarely going to special summon in this deck. Yeah, I have XYZs and stuff like that, but that's just backup if I really need to. That's just backup if I really need to do something, if I really need to keep an opponent from going crazy next turn. Because don't forget that all your monsters are going to come back to your hand at the end of the turn. You're going to be open wide for any attack. So sometimes you might want to XYZ summon into a giant hand, or Ragnar Zero if you're playing against a deck that is going to be constantly getting buffs and stuff like that. Or Carnagon if you need to stop targeted effects or something like that. Next, we have Yosen Training Grounds. I say gowns. Oh my god, Jesus. Each time a Yosenju creature monster is normal or special summon, place 1 Yosen counter on this card. You can remove any number of Yosen counters from this card, apply this effect, depending on the number of Yosen counters removed. You can only use this effect of Yosen Training Grounds per turn, which means that you can only use one of these effects per turn, not both of them in the same turn. 1 counter. All Yosenju monsters you currently control gain 300 attack until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. 3 counters, add 1 Yosenju card from your deck to your hand, or graveyard to your hand. So, let's say you've gone crazy by activating all your secret moves, and you somehow got 3 monsters on the field, got 3 counters, activate the effect, get back a Yosenju secret move from the graveyard to your hand, or from the deck to your hand, or you can get any card you pretty much want, any other Yosenju card that you need from your deck to your hand. So this is kind of like Gateway, but Gateway's a lot more broken. This card can only be used once per turn, and it's still a really good card. It's either run it at 3 or don't run it at all. It's just one of those cards. First turn, this card can be very devastating, definitely if you have 3, let's say you open up with a Kama 1, Kama 3, and a Tenki. You activate Tenki, get Kama 2, then you go Kama 1, Kama 3, Kama 2, counter, remove counters, get a, get a secret move, and then if you attack that turn, then you can search for a Shinchu L, and then put that in the Pendulum Zone, set your secret move, bounce everything back to your hand, end your turn, and then just sit there and just wait until next turn, because when your next turn comes up, you're going to get another 3 counters, and then you're going to get another search, and then you're probably going to get another search if you keep activating comma 3 every turn every time you do battle damage. So Training Grounds is a really good card. It's either run it at 3 or don't run it at all. 3 MSTs, because, you know, there's still stuff like Cliff Forts and Back Row and stuff like that. Skill Drain is going to be your worst fucking enemy. That's why I used to run Spell Shattering Arrows, but instead I took them out for Fairy Winds, because I really need to get rid of Skill Drains. Every time I ran into a Cliff Fort deck recently, they play a Skill Drain, and then I just have to scoop it up, because that is the most evil thing you can do. I mean, it's just really bad. Next we have Raigeki. You can actually substitute this in for, you know, Dark Hole. You can actually, if you don't run Training Grounds, you can actually put in 2 Dark Holes and something else, but because, I mean, you're never going to have monsters on the field unless you XYZ summon them, which you probably shouldn't do. So you're going to never have monsters on the field. You're going to activate Dark Holes, and you're going to basically destroy their field and not have to worry about destroying yours, because you never have anything on the field anyways. Next thing we have is Dimensional Fissure. Once your monsters should really never hit the graveyard. They should always be played with carefulness. So when you summon a monster and you attack and all that, at the end of the turn you should be able to safely go back to your hand. If they go into the graveyard, then that's just something you got to deal with. And once they go in the graveyard, there's really no coming back, because of the fact that you don't run Calling Hunt in this deck, because they don't get any effect off of being special summoned. And you don't run Soul Charge. There's really no reason to do any of this, because once they're special summoned, they don't come back to the hand. So once they go into the graveyard, it's done. They're done. So we run Dimensional Fissure because it fucks up a lot of decks, you know, still now, like, you know, BAs and stuff like that, even though, you know, he's going to mill and probably, you know, they're going to get banished, but he's still going to get the effect, I think. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, I still run Dimensional Fissure. Snatch Steal, because it's Snatch Steal. It's just a really good freaking card. Why not? Macrocosmos. We run this because of stuff like BA, stuff like Necroz, Cliff Forts, you know, getting rid of those scouts, getting rid of those pendulum monsters, and pretty much any deck in the meta it gets hurt by Macrocosmos, besides Yosenju's. Cards like, decks like Volcanics get hurt because then they can't send Scatter Shots to the graveyard. They can't send Blaze Accelerators to the graveyard. They can't Magic Planner them to the graveyard. They can't, Heroes can't do Mass Change. They can't send crap to the graveyard to then into Fusion and stuff like that. Shaddolls get beat by Macrocosmos. Even though they're able to summon a creature, they're not going to get Dragon effects. They're not going to get any of their effects. So Macrocosmos is definitely something you want to play. I don't Pendulum Summon. Also, if you have Vanity's Emptiness and a Macrocosmos on the field, you're pretty much not going to have to worry about anything because of the fact that nothing's going to go to the graveyard and you're always going to have fun. Next is Yosenju Secret Move. This is the Infernity Barrier of the deck. When a spell, trap card, or a monster effect is activated while you control at least one Yosenju card, and all face-up monsters you control are Yosenju monsters, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Now, this card is really, really good. Now, you don't have to have a Yosenju monster. You don't have to have a monster on the field in order to activate this card. You just have to have at least one Yosenju card on the field, whether it be the Pendulum Zone or on the field. You just have to control another Yosenju monster or pendulum in order to activate this card. It's really good for if you have a Shinshu on the left hand pendulum side or right hand, wherever the hell you want to go to. I always put it on the left side because it's L, you know, put it on the left hand side. So once you do that, then you set your secret move, wait for them to do something, activate it, stop them, and then, or you can just wait until next turn when you want to go all out and then they try to do something like Mirror Force or something like that, and then you go secret move, and then you just laugh at them. Or you don't even have to use it, because if they Mirror Force, you can just send the Shinshu L from the Pendulum Zone to the graveyard instead of them being destroyed, and then if they try to do something else, then you secret move them, and then you laugh at their face. So it's a really good card. This is going to be the main card that you're pretty much going to be searching for comma 3, unless you already have like 2 in hand or something like that, or if you feel confident enough that you can actually just keep searching for monsters for the next turn. Next we have 2 Vanity's Emptiness, because we don't special summon at all. Why not? Just play it. It's good. Then we have Torrential Tribute, because we never have a field, really. So we don't care about Torrential tributing the field. Then 2 Mind Crush. This is just a filler card, really. You could put any card in this place that would be really good against the meta. I use Mind Crush because Stuff like Necroz. I need to get cards out of their hands. Stuff like not Constellars, Satellanites, BAs and stuff like that. Definitely if you have Macrocosmos, then it's going to be really good because then you can just keep banishing crap from their hand. So yeah, that is my Yosenju deck. I hope if you try this out, hope you like it. This is something fitting my playstyle. I'll probably tweak it up some more. Maybe we'll see some pop around some regionals. BexKids4666 will probably be posting up some regional qualifiers or something like that. So thank you guys for everything. I will be posting up duel videos using this deck so you can see what I'm doing, or you can catch me on Duel Network playing this deck. I know a lot of people have been watching it so far. They seem to enjoy it. My matchups have been really good. I've been going against Cliff Wars, Necroz. Necroz is actually not that hard of a deck to play against with this, surprisingly, because most of the time I either have nothing on the field for them to Trishula and do some major play, or I have no graveyard for them to Trishula for us, so they can't Trishula effect. And they usually only have what, like Unicorn in the field and maybe like one back row. So I'll just MST the back row, summon, activate Kama 1 effect, bounce the Unicorn back to the hand, attack, and then I'll just go and get a secret move, and then I'll just set it, and then I'll just sit there. Or I'll have a Macrocosmos in hand, or a Vanity's Emptiness, or something like that. So as you can see, this deck is very meta, anti-meta, and I've really had no problem with Necroz. I probably played against 3. I've won both of them. Well, I won 2 of them. I think maybe 1 beat me. But the other 2, they just had to scoop it up. They just quit. And it was just like, I can't deal with this. Because Necroz, Unicorn deals with monster special summon from the extra deck. We don't special summon from the extra deck. We don't give a damn about that bullshit. Next thing, you know, going against Cliff Wars, it's a little bit hard because you got to watch out for the skill drains and stuff like that. But if you play it right, you should be able to conquer them. As for BA, I've not really gone against BA, but if you do have your Vanity's Emptinesses and your Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors and your Macrocosmoses and stuff like that, then you shouldn't really have a hard time against them. Shadal's has been a pretty easy matchup. Construct comes on the field, and I'm just like, okay, Kama 2, bounce that shit back to the extra deck. You're not going to get no searches. And then we have stuff like Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos to stop all the bullcrap of all their monsters' effects happening and them going to the graveyard. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't really think of any other deck that I've pretty much gone against. Big shout out to ZOZX. I had a mirror match with him in Rated. He's a subscriber. And we had a good time dueling. He's playing a little bit more of a different version than me. He's not using the counter traps and stuff like that. He's using Tengus and stuff like that. It was a really good duel. Big ups to you, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you for helping me learn a little bit more about my deck. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to catch y'all guys later. Please like, favorite, comment, subscribe if you like this video. And also make sure to check out my other videos. And I will catch you guys later. Peace out, people.